Have you ever stopped to wonder if you are throwing away a literal gold mine every single morning? While you browse the glossy catalogs of garden centers, searching for that miracle growth formula or the perfect blue bottle of nutrients, your kitchen trash can is filling up with biological gold. These are substances that the master agronomists of our ancestors' time would have guarded as family secrets. Most of us have become hostages to a very clever, very profitable form of marketing. For nearly a century, we've been brainwashed into believing that a plant's entire existence boils down to just 3 letters on a colorful plastic bag. NPK. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. We've been taught to view the soil as a sterile substrate that only functions if we pump it full of synthetic salts. But today, we are pulling back the curtain on the multi-billion-dollar mineral fertilizer industry. We are going to journey inside the very cells of your plants to understand why ordinary banana peels and discarded eggshells aren't just alternatives. They are often superior to the expensive synthetic compounds you've been told you need. Today, we return to the roots of microbiology and the ancient wisdom of the earth to turn your food waste into a potent, living elixir of life. To truly value the trash sitting on your counter, we must first understand the high price of the chemical green revolution. In essence, synthetic fertilizers are mineral salts. When you apply them to your soil, you aren't feeding it. You are creating a massive osmotic shock. Think of it like drinking nothing but salt water when you're thirsty. These high salt concentrations can literally suck the moisture out of the delicate root hairs of your plants through a process called reverse osmosis. This synthetics-first approach doesn't just stress the plant, it annihilates the invisible world beneath our feet. It destroys mycorrhizae, the symbiotic fungal networks that have helped plants find water and ward off diseases for millions of years. When the soil becomes addicted to these quick hits of nitrogen, it stops functioning as a living organ and becomes a dead, salty graveyard. Furthermore, plants under this regime often absorb far more nitrogen than they can process, turning your homegrown vegetables into a storage warehouse for nitrates. Nature never intended for plants to eat this way. In a wild, ancient forest, no one is scattering ammonium nitrate, yet the trees grow to be giants. The secret is the slow, rhythmic release of nutrients and their natural bioavailable forms. Let's look at the first pillar of your homemade fertilizer, the banana peel. To most, it's a slippery nuisance. To a microbiologist, it is a high-density, organic potassium reactor. Potassium is essentially the conductor of the entire plant cell. It doesn't actually become part of the plant's physical structure, but it manages everything else. Potassium regulates turgor pressure, the internal hydraulic force that keeps leaves standing tall and crisp rather than drooping like wet rags. It is also the key to the plant's lungs. It signals the stomata, the microscopic pores on the leaf surface, to open and close. If a plant is low on potassium, it can't breathe properly, failing to absorb the carbon dioxide it needs for photosynthesis. Finally, potassium acts as the courier. It is the pump that moves sugars, produced in the leaves, down into the fruit and roots. If your tomatoes are bland, or your strawberries lack that deep sugary punch, it's almost certainly because they lack the potassium found in your trash. In a dried banana peel, potassium can make up to 40% of the mineral content, a concentration higher than almost any other organic source on the planet. If potassium is the coach of the plant, then the calcium from eggshells is the foundation of the house. One of the most common heartbreaks for a gardener is blossom end rot, the black sunken spots on the bottom of a beautiful tomato. This is a direct cry for help regarding calcium deficiency. At the microscopic level, calcium acts as the glue that binds pectin fibers together in the cell walls. A plant without enough calcium is like a skyscraper built without rebar. It is structurally weak and will be the first to collapse under the weight of fruit, the push of the wind, or the attack of a pathogen. But calcium's role goes even deeper. It is a signaling molecule. When a pest, like an aphid or a caterpillar, bites into a leaf, a wave of calcium ions travels through the plant's vascular system, acting as an alarm that tells the rest of the plant to activate its chemical defenses. But there is a catch that the industry doesn't want you to solve. Eggshells are almost entirely calcium carbonate. In its raw, hard form, it is virtually insoluble in water. You could bury eggshells in your garden today, and 5 years from now, they would still be there, largely intact. Throwing crushed shells on the ground is like trying to feed a human being a pile of gravel. To make them work, we must employ the science of chelation, the process of turning a mineral into a form the roots can actually sip. Let's get practical. We are going to build a biologically active concentrate that functions as a living fertilizer. Step 1 is preparation. Start by collecting your banana peels. Chop them as finely as you can. We aren't just making a soup, we are increasing the surface area. The more surface area we create, the more workspace we provide for the beneficial bacteria to do their job. Next, take your eggshells. Wash them thoroughly to remove the protein membrane. Then toast them in a dry pan or a low oven until they are slightly brown. This process, called calcinating, makes the structure brittle and easy to break down. Once toasted, grind them into a powder as fine as flour using a coffee grinder. Step 2 is the secret of acetic extraction. To unlock the calcium, we need a catalyst. Take your eggshell powder and add it to a glass of ordinary white vinegar or a citric acid solution. You will see an immediate, vigorous reaction as bubbles of carbon dioxide are released. You are witnessing a chemical transformation. The insoluble carbonate is being broken down into calcium acetate, one of the most bioavailable forms of calcium known to science. Once the fizzing stops, the stones have been turned into juice that the roots can absorb within minutes of application. Step 3 is the microbial brew. Place your chopped peels and your new calcium solution into a large jar of rainwater or dechlorinated water. Now we add the spark. Throw in a spoonful of old jam, raw sugar, or molasses. This isn't for the plant, it is fuel for the invisible army. Within this jar, a population of beneficial soil microbes, such as Bacillus subtilis, will begin to multiply exponentially. They will pre-digest the organic matter, breaking down complex molecules into simple ionic forms. Leave this jar in a dark, warm place for 3 to 5 days. You may see a slight froth on top. This is the breath of a living ecosystem. You have just created a symbiotic concentrate. This liquid is potent. Do not use it straight. Dilute it 1 to 10 with clean water. For seedlings, it provides a steady, gentle start, preventing that weak, leggy growth often caused by high nitrogen synthetics. For flowering plants, apply it just as the first buds appear to give the plant the hydraulic power and structural integrity it needs to carry a heavy load. For indoor plants, it breathes life into tired, compacted potting soil, reintroducing the microbial life that indoor environments often lack. Within 14 days, you will see a transformation. Leaves will take on a deeper, waxy green luster. Stems will thicken. But the real magic happens in the harvest. Your fruits will not just be larger, they will be nutritionally denser, packed with the minerals and sugars that only a natural living system can provide. We live in an era that tries to convince us we are incompetent, that we cannot possibly grow a simple tomato or a rose without the intervention of a multi-billion-dollar agrochemical giant. But the truth is, your kitchen is the most sophisticated laboratory you will ever own. When you choose to use banana peels and eggshells, you aren't just saving a few dollars. You are making a statement. You are choosing to stop being a mere consumer and starting to be a steward of the cycle. You are returning to the earth exactly what it gave to you, closing the loop of fertility that modern industry has worked so hard to break. Your garden is more than a hobby. It is a mirror of your relationship with the natural world. Let that relationship be built on understanding, respect, and independence. Don't throw away your trash. Take it, transform it, and watch as you create life from what the world calls waste.